Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Internet land. Just going to give Instagram a moment to catch up. And when it does, we will go live. So, just one moment, everybody on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for being here. We're just going to give it 1 second and then we're going to go and be live. Okay. Looks like it's all right. Good. We are live everywhere. Okay. So, welcome, everybody. Good morning, and welcome to another episode of DIY Wellness. This is the show for people taking personal growth into their own hands. On this show, we explore different strategies for improving quality of life and well-being. So just take what resonates and toss the rest. And my name is Brian Hogan, life coach, filmmaker, and clinical therapist, and founder of the S.H.I.F.T model. S.H.I.F.T stands for Somatic Holistic Internal Family Transcendence. And we're going to do a S.H.I.F.T practice at the end of this episode to meet the parts of us that hold grudges, that pay for mistakes more than once, and that are very, very critical of us. So today's topic is don't cancel yourself. Try self-kindness instead. And I really want to, this is a subject that's near and dear to me because I have one of my triggers is rejection and that the perception of failure. And that's very common. And so I'm sure that's true for a lot of you too. And we've been really sort of brainwashed into thinking of mistakes as moral failures. And because of that, we don't let them teach us in the way that they're meant to teach us. And we don't allow ourselves to move through mistakes with ease and flow and even with joy. Instead, we have shame, we have guilt, we have regret, we have coulda, woulda, shoulda. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about what happens when we mess up, and because we all do that, and how come it's so hard? How come we take it so hard? But kids don't necessarily always take it that hard, not at the beginning, not until we start layering shame on them. So the thing is, it's really, really difficult to let yourself off the hook when you know you made a mistake and you know you were wrong. So that's the thing we're talking about here. When you do make a mistake, it's really a mistake. You made a mistake and you have to repair. But if you get down on yourself for the mistakes that you're making, the chances of you following through and taking responsibility and making a repair are a lot less, because when we're down on ourselves for the mistakes we're making, we're trapped in guilt and shame and all of those things. And they make it much harder to have any kind of accountability or to even want to have accountability. So the reason I'm talking about this is because I did something this week, two things this week that were big mistakes, and they're like cancelable offenses, and I was like beside myself. And so I'm going to share the stories with you. And the first one is, I'm a professor, and in a class recently, I accidentally used somebody's wrong pronoun, and immediately I corrected myself, and then I took them after class and said, I need your forgiveness and sorry about that. And like they were super cool about it, but it's like it's like that's not what I wanted to be. I don't want to be the person that does that. I don't consider myself transphobic. And yet that's what happened. And so I was so mad at myself. And another time I did something similar where I sort of mistook somebody for somebody else. And in that story, they were really, really offended that I didn't recognize them. And so both times my system did what it was trained to do. It didn't just notice the mistake, and it didn't just feel the impact, and it didn't just care deeply that I made a mistake. It went further than that. My system started to build a case against me. You know the voice I'm talking about. How could you do that? You should know better. You hurt someone. You're better than this. And then the loop begins over and over, replaying the moment, adding layers of shame, paying for the mistake again and again and again. And at a certain point, I caught it and I realized, oh, I already paid for this. Why am I still paying for this? In Toltec wisdom, Toltec is a word that just means artist, and it's a group of artists from many, many different cultures. And they came together and pooled all of their wisdom. And in the Toltec, they say, it's justice to pay for your mistake once, but it's injustice to keep paying for your mistakes over and over. So how did we get here? How did we get to this place where, well, we've been taught from a very early age that mistakes equal punishment. At home, you get in trouble. At school, you get marked down. At work, you get written up. So we internalize that. And eventually, nobody needs to punish us anymore because we take over. We have an internal punishment system, an internal system that monitors for justice. And so in that system, we then become the judge and the prosecutor and the victim and the executioner. And then we're at this war with ourselves, judging ourselves, being victimized by the judge, judging the victim, feeling awful about it, being mad that we're doing that. And it's a vicious, vicious cycle. And the verdict is always the same: guilty. You are guilty. But here's the problem: that system does not lead to growth, it leads to shutdown. There's actually a lot of research on this. Kristen Neff is one of the leading researchers on self-compassion, and she found something really interesting. People who practice self-compassion are more likely to take responsibility for their mistakes, not less. It's because shame makes us defensive. We avoid, we deny, we deflect because it's too painful to face. Shame is hard to face. But when there's kindness, when there's internal kindness, when you practice the art of internal kindness, something opens and you can say, yeah, I did that. And that mattered. And I want to repair that without collapsing. From a nervous system perspective, shame equals threat. And threat equals shutdown or defense. So when you attack yourself, your system actually does lose access to empathy, clarity, and accountability. But self-kindness, on the other hand, creates safety, and safety allows for honesty, reflection, and repair. And this is not a new idea. In Buddhism, they say suffering is not just what happens, it's how we relate to what happens. So self-judgment multiplies suffering. Christianity says, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. And we love applying that to others, but we don't apply it to ourselves. We cast stones in here all the time. And so we're so very self-violent, and it's not called for. In Stoicism, they say you don't control what happens, you control your response. And let's be honest, punishing ourselves endlessly is not a useful response. It's habitual, it's conditioning, we've been taught it, we're not bad for having that pattern, but it's not effective and it's not useful, and it doesn't move the needle in the direction we want to move. So mistakes are not the problem. Failures are not the problem. Paying for them repeatedly is. You are allowed to care without condemning yourself. You're allowed to take responsibility without destroying yourself. And you are allowed to learn without canceling yourself. So today we're not going to try to get rid of the critic. We're not trying to force positivity. We're going to meet the parts that replay mistakes. We're going to meet the part that holds regret. And we're going to meet the part that won't let you off the hook. These could be different parts, or they could all be the same part. But all we're going to do is show them compassion and understanding so they can find a new way. We're not going to force anything on them. So just for the next 10 minutes, we're going to do a practice. So take a breath, let your shoulders drop, and bring to mind a recent mistake. It probably isn't hard because we're probably trained to just practice paying for mistakes over and over anyway. So find one that you've been flogging yourself for all week or all month or all decade. Not the worst one of your life, just something that still has a little charge. And notice what happens in your body when you really bring that mistake back to mind. How the tension shows up, or the heart rate goes up, or, the temperature, whatever it is. Just notice it, allow it. Your body isn't wrong. And we're going to begin tapping on the side of our hand. And just remember this shift model. It's a eyes open and repeat after me practice. So you don't have to worry about knowing the tapping points that we're going to do. And you also don't have to worry about figuring out what to say. If, however, anything I say doesn't fully resonate with you, just change it to something that does, because healing happens in safety and truth. And so you got to use words that feel true to you. Also, if you're really familiar with the shift model or with EFT and you want to close your eyes, you're welcome to close your eyes. You just don't have to. Okay. Even though I keep replaying this mistake, I acknowledge that part of me. Even though I feel bad about what happened, I honor that feeling. Even though I keep going back to it, I'm open to noticing this pattern. Top of the head, this mistake, eyebrow, this moment, side of the eye. I keep replaying it. Under the eye, over and over. Under the nose, I can't let it go. Chin, this mental loop. Collarbone, this repetition. Under the arm, this part keeps bringing me back. Okay, stop tapping there, pause, and just put your hand over your heart and allow yourself to tune in. What is this part hoping will happen by replaying this? What is this part hoping will happen? What does it want you to get by continuing to replay your mistakes for you? See what comes up, see why it does it that way. If nothing comes up, that's okay. We're just allowing space. We're not forcing anything at all. And when you're ready, you can join me again on the side of your hand. We're going to tap through the feelings of regret. Even though I feel regret about what happened, I acknowledge that feeling. Even though I wish I had done it differently, I honor that part of me. Even though this feels uncomfortable, I am open to staying with it. Top of the head. This regret. Eyebrow. I wish I did it differently. Side of the eye. I wish I knew better. Under the eye. I wish I caught it. Under the nose. This uncomfortable feeling. Chin. This heaviness. Collarbone. This caring. Underarm. This part that feels bad. Yeah, stop tapping there and just tune in. And what does this regret say about what you actually value? Just tune into that. If you regret this mistake, it means you value something on the other side of it. If you regret lashing out at someone, it means you value kindness. If you regret losing your cool, it means you value tranquility. So just tune in and allow that to emerge. And when you're ready, just begin tapping on the side of your hand, and we're going to touch in with the inner critic. Even though part of me is criticizing me, I acknowledge that part. Even though it's harsh, I know it's trying to help in its own way. Even though it doesn't feel good, I'm open to understanding it. Top of the head. This critical voice. Eyebrow. I should have known better. Side of the eye. I messed up. Under the eye. This harsh tone. Under the nose. This pressure. Chin. This part pushing me. Collarbone. It thinks this helps. Under the arm. It's trying to protect me. Pause there, stop tapping, and just tune in. See if you can get a sense of what the critic is afraid would happen if it didn't push so hard. Just reminding it this is hypothetical and we're not asking it to stop pushing right now. We're just asking if it would share what it's afraid of. What it's afraid might happen if it didn't push. See what comes up. And when you're ready, join me tapping, and we're going to offer some kindness. Even though this was a mistake, I am open to offering myself kindness. Even though I feel bad, I'm willing to soften towards myself. Even though this is hard, I am open to something gentler. Top of the head. Maybe I can be kind to myself. Eyebrow. Even here. Side of the eye. Even after this. Under the eye. I can care without attacking myself. Under the nose. I can learn from this. Chin. I can grow from this. Collarbone. I can soften. Under the arm. I can offer grace. So take a pause there and just notice what changes in you when you meet this with kindness instead of judgment. Notice any small, subtle shifts in your physiology. You can't get this wrong. Your parts can't get this wrong. And we're just going to move through one last round here, and then we're going to do a final visualization together. So you're with me for about 3 more minutes or so. Even though I made a mistake, I can still take responsibility. Even though I feel this, I can still repair if needed. Even though I'm human, I can still show up with integrity. Top of the head. I can take responsibility. Eyebrow. Without destroying myself. Side of the eye. I can care. Under the eye. And still be kind. Under the nose. I can repair. Chin. I can move forward. Collarbone. I can learn. Under the arm. And I don't have to keep paying for my same mistakes over and over again. Okay, pause there and just check in with your system and see what might it be like to take responsibility for things without continuing to punish ourselves. See if you can get a sense of that, how that would feel. To be willing to take responsibility, but also internally knowing you're done with punishment. So just take a moment now and imagine all of these parts in front of you. The one that replays the mistakes, the one that holds the regret, and the one criticizing you. They're all there, not fighting, not shouting, just present. And just imagine yourself stepping in, calm, grounded, and steady. You're not here to fix them. You're not here to silence them. You're just here to meet them. And you say, I see you. I know you're trying to help. We're okay. And I've got you now. I've got you now. And just notice for a moment how they soften, if they soften. How are they responding to you giving them this kindness and attention? They don't need to keep shouting. They don't need to keep punishing. They can feel included. So just take a breath and let that land. You don't need to cancel yourself to grow. You just need to care enough. You just need to be present enough to be kind while you grow, to be kind to yourself while you grow. So if what you heard here resonates with you, then please share this video with those you know who might appreciate this message. And if you have questions about this or comments, please go ahead and put them in the comments so I can celebrate with you or help you get unstuck. Because remember, DIY wellness means do it yourself, but that does not mean you have to do it all by yourself. We will be back again next week at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time on Tuesday morning. Until then, keep taking personal growth into your own hands. Much love, everybody. I trust you, humanity. Bye.